want to review what we went over yesterday. Do you guys remember what we went over yesterday? Yesterday we went over stage presence. Could some people tell me what some of the things we touched on yesterday? Foster, name something.
Lighting your guitar on fire.
Lighting your guitar on fire. Oh, you didn't? But yeah, that's not always necessary to light your guitar on fire.
Doing something to grab the attention of the audience.
Doing something to grab the attention of the audience. Huge thing. Satisfied audience members become fans. That's how you extend your fan base. Satisfied people who have a satisfactory experience, just like when you go shopping, you go eat at a store, you go eat at a restaurant. You had a good meal, your chances are you're going to come back. Well, if you had a good experience at a concert, chances are you're going to go see them again, right? People that give phenomenal shows, bands like like I saw Blink-182, and they just blew my mind. They're just phenomenal. They're dancing around the stage, and there's just so much entertainment there. Travis Barker his drum set got raised in the air, and he did like this drum solo in the air and stuff like that. So all that stuff is just huge in keeping your fan base. What are some other things? George?
Trying to get yourself known.
Trying to get yourself known. Okay. All right. That's not necessarily stage presence. We're talking about stage presence. What did we talk about? We talked about basically showing off, but not always showing off.
Walking from end to end on the stage.
Walking from end to end. Okay. Basically doing anything but what? Standing still, right? You're being engaging. You're making eye contact with the audience. You're not staring at your feet. You're not like, oh, look at the ground. That's really cool. You're like, you're looking at the audience. You're making contact. You're making an impression. That's a huge thing. Is the idea is you're making an impression. Hold on real quick. We also talked about attitude, right? Attitude comes across in music. What kind of attitude do you expect from certain types of music? We talked about that. You guys remember? More like folk music. Are they going to smash their guitars all the time? No?
Laid back.
But like jazz would be like more smooth and they're not jumping around.
Jazz, yeah. Jazz are actually usually kind of even sometimes dressed up. People who go to jazz gigs are actually usually sometimes in shirt and ties. And very formal, because sometimes if you get a jazz gig, you might be playing in a really nice restaurant. You might be playing in an expensive restaurant. They don't want, crazy music. They want this little Frank Sinatra, nice, easy listening. You said something, Greg? Did you have something? Oh, okay. What else? How about metal? What kind of attitude do you expect from metal? Furious, right? Okay. And how about dress? What do they dress? They use colors.
What age of metal are you talking about here? Because that differs.
Depends what age of metal. That's true. You have hair metal, which you have a lot of hair and makeup and kind of extravagant stuff.
Yeah.
And then 90s and even now it's more straight away from that. But you went from a lot of bands in the 60s and stuff like that, being in like costumes and being like really uniformly dressed, like the Temptations. They all had like that one dress, right? That was like them because they all had the same suit on. No one really does that anymore. You notice Hendrix yesterday. Did you notice what they were all wearing? Did you guys notice that?
Big, like, fluffy shirts.
Big, fluffy, froofy shirts, right?
Bell bottom.
and they all had. What did you guys notice they all had? Afros. Yes, they all had afros. Hendrix had an afro. Mitch Mitchell had an afro. And here's a key thing. I'm pretty sure. They had to get their hair done like that. Like, they all had to do their hair like that. You know what I mean? They all had to be synchronized on that. And they said, let's all go out and buy froofy outfits.
They teased it.
They frizzed their hair, yeah. So that's something that goes into a lot of, like, stage presence ideas. Went over some ideas to improve yourself. How would you improve your stage presence? What do we talk about that? Practicing in front of a mirror, okay. Maybe videotape yourself playing, right? And then go back. You can actually look at, there's old footage of like Nirvana and stuff like that practicing. Like I said, how they would face this way. Actually, I want to try this later on today. We're actually going to face out. We're not going to face in so much. We're all going to try to face out, curve out, and look towards like this glass. And we're going to try to play like we'd be facing an audience. We're going to do that a little bit later, okay? So there's old concert footage of like Nirvana practicing in like a house and stuff like that. You can see them practicing like that. They all face like they're facing the audience. And they run through their set and stuff like that. And they videotape it, obviously, so they can go back and say, well, you were standing still too much during that, But that was actually kind of Kurt Cobain's style, was standing still. Chris Novoselic, the bassist, would kind of dance around, which kind of made up for it. Letting go, letting the barrier go, right? We talked about that, right? About really connecting with the audience and just trying to show them who you are is the main thing. Being honest, right? The last point I made was what? A song is not a song without...
Soul or heart or something.
Song is not a song without heart or soul, right? And how do you get that impression of heart or soul, right? Somebody goes out there and they put themselves on the line and they play for you, you know what I mean? And they're talking about their life. If it's a singer-songwriter or something like that, they're talking about their experiences in their life, They're talking about things they've seen. They've been war vets. Elvis was a war vet. Elvis was in the Army. Hendrix was in the Army. They'd seen probably some things that we'd never seen, Hendrix was actually a paratrooper. He jumped out of planes until he broke his, I think he broke his leg, and then he picked up and started playing guitar. So Hendrix jumped out of planes, It's something you wouldn't expect, right? You didn't think Hendrix jumped out of planes, but he did. A lot of guys have just crazy experience with life.